Sean "Diddy" Combs, a prominent figure in the music industry and an entrepreneur with extensive business ventures, now faces a series of serious allegations that threaten to unravel his empire. At the heart of the ongoing legal drama, there are claims of sexual violence, coercive control, and manipulation that have escalated into an intense legal battle. As the case progresses, numerous high-profile figures, including his former associates, have found themselves tied to the scandal, and the potential for major revelations continues to rise. Federal prosecutors are relying on expert witnesses to bolster their case, and the defense team, on the other hand, is scrambling to suppress damaging evidence, a move that has not gone unnoticed. With his legal team under increasing pressure, Diddy's future now hinges on courtroom decisions, public opinion, and the evolving narrative of the case. The role of Dr. Dawn Hughes in the case. One of the most significant developments in the case is the involvement of forensic psychologist Dr. Dawn M. Hughes. Dr. Hughes is a board-certified forensic psychologist, recognized as a leading expert in sexual abuse, interpersonal violence, victimization, and traumatic stress. As an expert witness for the prosecution, Dr. Hughes's testimony is expected to provide invaluable insight into the psychology of abuse victims and the dynamics of coercive control, which will be critical in understanding the alleged behaviors of both the victims and the accused. In the lawsuit filed against Diddy, Dr. Hughes's expertise is not just an addendum to the case, but is anticipated to be a cornerstone of the government's argument. According to the disclosed expert witness statement, Dr. Hughes will testify about the typical behaviors exhibited by victims of abuse, particularly focusing on delayed disclosures, the coping mechanisms of survivors, and how coercive control tactics are often used by perpetrators to maintain dominance in abusive relationships. Coercive control, a concept Dr. Hughes has extensively studied, involves a range of manipulative tactics that go beyond physical violence. This form of control can manifest through psychological abuse, manipulation, threats, and emotional violence, often leading to a victim's dependence on the abuser. In many cases, this form of control extends over an extended period, which can cause victims to remain in the abusive relationship or feel trapped, even if they initially exhibit resistance. The psychological impact of such manipulation can distort the victim's perception of the situation, making it difficult for them to recognize the abuse or seek help. Dr. Hughes is expected to draw parallels between Diddy's alleged behavior and typical patterns seen in cases of abuse and victimization. Her testimony will be crucial in explaining why some of Diddy's accusers may have remained in contact with him or even maintained seemingly cordial relationships long after the alleged abuse took place. This behavior, often interpreted by the defense as evidence of the accuser's falsehoods, will be framed by Dr. Hughes as a typical response to prolonged coercive control. She will argue that such actions do not discredit the victim's testimony, but instead highlight the insidious nature of the abuse they endured. Despite the anticipated strength of Dr. Hughes's testimony, Diddy's legal team has made a concerted effort to prevent her from taking the stand. In a motion to exclude her testimony, Diddy's defense attorneys argue that Dr. Hughes's opinions are irrelevant and prejudiced. They contend that her testimony is biased in favor of the prosecution's narrative, asserting that her insights into victim behaviors are based on generalized assumptions rather than a specific analysis of the evidence in this case. They also claim that Dr. Hughes has not reviewed or evaluated any of the evidence presented in the case, and that her testimony would serve to mislead the jury by presenting a distorted view of the victim's actions. The defense's objection to Dr. Hughes's testimony reveals their strategy to discredit the victims and undermine the prosecution's case. By preventing the jury from hearing expert analysis on the psychological and behavioral aspects of abuse, the defense hopes to weaken the impact of the accuser's testimony and cast doubt on the authenticity of their claims. The challenge of victim testimony, a legal tactic. As the case unfolds, one of the key challenges for the prosecution is the nature of the victim testimony. Many of Diddy's alleged victims, while accusing him of serious offenses, have continued to maintain some form of relationship with him after the incidents in question. Some have even defended him publicly or downplayed the severity of their experiences. This has become a central point in the defense strategy, as they argue that such behavior is inconsistent with the actions of true victims. However, experts like Dr. Hughes would likely counter that these behaviors are typical in cases of coercive control and abuse. Victims often stay in touch with their abusers due to fear, emotional dependency, or a distorted sense of loyalty. The defense's attempt to portray these victims as complicit or untrustworthy would be challenged by Dr. Hughes's testimony, which would explain that the victims' actions are not abnormal and should not be used to invalidate their claims. One legal tactic often employed in cases of this nature is the use of outcry witnesses. These are individuals who can testify that the victim disclosed the abuse shortly after it occurred, even if they did not report it to the authorities at the time. For example, if a victim confided in a friend or family member about the abuse shortly after the incident, that person can testify to this disclosure, adding credibility to the victim's account. The prosecution will likely rely on outcry witnesses to support the victim's testimonies and demonstrate that the abuse was real and known to others, even if the victim did not immediately take legal action. The bombshell video, a key piece of evidence. The case took a dramatic turn when a video surfaced, showing Diddy allegedly beating his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in 2016. The footage, first reported by CNN, shows a violent altercation in a hotel room where Diddy is seen physically assaulting Cassie and dragging her by the hair. This video became a focal point of the case and is expected to play a significant role in the trial. However, Diddy's legal team has fought vehemently to have the video excluded from evidence, claiming that it has been edited and manipulated to create a false narrative. In a motion to exclude the footage, Diddy's defense team argues that the video has been tampered with and that it no longer accurately reflects the events that took place. According to the defense, CNN altered the footage by speeding it up, cutting it into a montage, and presenting it out of sequence. They further claim that the original video footage no longer exists, making it impossible to verify the authenticity of the edited version. The defense argues that the altered footage would unfairly prejudice the jury and mislead them into believing that Diddy is guilty of the charges against him. CNN, however, stands by the authenticity of the footage, insisting that it was not altered and that they still possess the original video. The network has denied any claims of manipulation and maintains that the footage provides a truthful account of the incident. This disagreement over the video's authenticity has created a legal standoff, with Diddy's legal team trying to suppress it, while the prosecution seeks to use it as key evidence of abusive behavior. In his public statements, Diddy has acknowledged the incident, expressing regret and remorse for his actions. He has claimed that the video depicts a moment of deep personal failure and has apologized for the violence he displayed. However, his defense team has gone to great lengths to discredit the video, arguing that it is an unfair representation of the events and should not be used to make judgments about his character or behavior. Despite Diddy's public apology, the legal implications of the video are immense. If the jury is allowed to view the footage, it could provide a compelling visual representation of the alleged abuse and serve as a powerful piece of evidence in the prosecution's case. The defense's efforts to have the video excluded underscore the high stakes involved in the trial and the lengths to which Diddy's legal team is willing to go to prevent damaging evidence from reaching the jury. The broader context: Diddy's legal and public image. Diddy's legal troubles are not happening in a vacuum. The case has captured the public's attention, particularly due to Diddy's high-profile status in the entertainment industry. As the CEO of Bad Boy Records, Diddy is known for his influential role in shaping hip-hop and pop culture. However, the allegations against him paint a darker picture, one that could forever alter his legacy. As the trial progresses, the public's perception of Diddy is shifting, with many questioning his character and integrity. Beyond the personal impact on Diddy, the case has broader implications for the entertainment industry as a whole. Allegations of abuse and manipulation within the industry are nothing new, but the high-profile nature of this case has drawn attention to the darker side of fame and power. For years, Diddy has been a central figure in hip-hop and entertainment, but now his actions are being scrutinized in ways that could redefine his career. As the trial continues, the legal strategies employed by both the prosecution and the defense will be critical in determining the outcome. With expert witnesses like Dr. Hughes providing crucial testimony and key pieces of evidence like the video of the assault on Cassie, the case is shaping up to be one of the most significant legal battles in recent entertainment history. The ultimate question remains: will Diddy be able to overcome these allegations, or will the weight of the evidence finally bring him to justice? Expert testimony. Dr. Don Hughes and the coercive control defense. One of the most significant developments in this case is the involvement of Dr. Don Hughes, a clinical psychologist and a board-certified forensic psychologist known for her expertise in sexual abuse, interpersonal violence, and traumatic stress. Dr. Hughes has been invited by federal prosecutors to testify about the behaviors typically associated with sexual abuse victims, as well as the psychological patterns of coercive control used by perpetrators to maintain dominance over their victims. Dr. Hughes's testimony is a crucial element for the prosecution, as it aims to establish that the actions of Diddy's alleged victims are consistent with those of individuals who have been subjected to prolonged abuse. A central component of her expert opinion is that coercive control, a tactic involving emotional, sexual, and physical manipulation, is often employed to silence victims and prevent them from coming forward with their experiences. Victims of coercive control, Dr. Hughes explains, often maintain relationships with their abusers for a variety of reasons, including fear, confusion, and the psychological impact of long-term abuse. This behavior, staying in contact with the abuser, or even remaining in a seemingly friendly relationship with them, does not invalidate the victim's testimony or their claims of abuse. Despite this, Diddy's legal team is pushing for Dr. Hughes's testimony to be excluded from the trial, arguing that it unfairly biases the jury by suggesting that the victims must be telling the truth simply because their actions fit a typical pattern of abuse. The defense's motion to exclude Dr. Hughes's testimony is one of many strategies aimed at undermining the prosecution's case. They argue that her opinions are not based on any direct examination of the evidence or the specific victims involved, and that her testimony is merely an attempt to reinforce the government's narrative without providing any substantive proof of the allegations. Nevertheless, the inclusion of Dr. Hughes's testimony could provide a vital framework for the jury to understand the psychological complexities surrounding abuse, coercion, and delayed disclosures, which are often common in cases of sexual violence. The struggle over the Cassie Ventura video, a game-changer in the trial. At the heart of the case lies a damning piece of evidence, a video showing Sean Combs allegedly assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hotel hallway. This footage, which was originally posted by CNN, has become a focal point of the case. In the video, Combs appears to be violently dragging Ventura by the hair after a heated confrontation. Diddy's legal team has tried desperately to suppress this video, claiming that it has been altered and manipulated. They argue that the footage has been edited to present a misleading narrative and that it no longer accurately reflects the events that transpired. In a motion filed with the court, Combs's lawyers claim that CNN sped up the video, chopped it into pieces, and presented it out of order, thereby distorting the context of the incident. They further argue that the original footage no longer exists, making it impossible to verify its authenticity. However, CNN has vehemently denied these accusations, maintaining that the footage was not tampered with and that the original video is intact. The network asserts that they did not alter the footage and that it accurately reflects the events that transpired in the hotel hallway. For the prosecution, this video could serve as a powerful piece of evidence, showing Diddy's aggressive behavior and establishing a pattern of abusive conduct toward Ventura. Despite these claims, Diddy's defense team insists that the video is irrelevant to the charges against him. They argue that the video only shows a personal altercation between Combs and Ventura, and that it has no bearing on the broader criminal allegations of trafficking, coercion, and sexual exploitation. This argument, however, seems to be losing steam, as legal experts and the public alike are becoming increasingly skeptical of Diddy's attempts to bury the footage. Legal maneuvers, the search warrants, and the battle over evidence. As the trial approaches, Diddy's legal team continues to fight tooth and nail to suppress crucial evidence collected during the raids on his properties. Federal agents, including Homeland Security investigators, conducted multiple raids on Combs's homes in Los Angeles, Miami, and New York, seizing various items, including alleged freak-off tapes and evidence of illicit sexual activities. In a desperate attempt to have this evidence dismissed, Diddy's attorneys have argued that the search warrants used to conduct these raids were obtained unlawfully. According to Diddy's defense, the government misrepresented the facts when applying for the search warrants, omitting critical information and including sensationalized details from an unnamed producer who allegedly provided unverified accusations. The defense further claims that the raids violated Diddy's constitutional rights, and that any evidence obtained through these searches must be suppressed. In addition to challenging the legality of the raids, Diddy's legal team has attempted to discredit the material seized during the searches. The alleged freak-off tapes, which purportedly show Combs engaging in drug-fueled sex performances, are a central point of contention. The defense argues that these tapes were part of Combs's personal life and do not constitute criminal activity. They claim that the charges brought against him are based on exaggerated claims and that the tapes should not be used as evidence in the trial. This legal strategy, however, is met with skepticism from the prosecution, who contend that the tapes provide critical evidence of coercion, manipulation, and exploitation. The government asserts that the videos demonstrate Diddy's involvement in a criminal enterprise using force, fraud, and coercion to control and exploit women for his own sexual gratification. The race argument, a last-ditch defense strategy. As the trial date nears, Diddy's legal team has begun to shift their strategy, attempting to frame the case as an issue of racial discrimination. In a surprising move, Combs has argued that he is being unfairly targeted by federal prosecutors due to his race and his success as a black entrepreneur in the entertainment industry. According to Diddy's attorneys, the federal charges against him are rooted in racism, with the government seeking to take down a powerful black figure in the entertainment world. This argument, however, has been met with little support from the public or legal experts, who view it as a desperate attempt to deflect from the serious nature of the charges. Critics argue that using race as a defense in a case involving such grave accusations of abuse and trafficking is both misguided and disrespectful to the victims. Despite this, Diddy's defense team continues to push forward with their argument, maintaining that the charges against him are politically motivated and based on unfounded allegations. This approach, however, is unlikely to sway the jury, especially given the mounting evidence against him and the testimonies of several alleged victims who have come forward with their accounts of abuse. The collapse of Diddy's legal team, a sign of things to come. As the pressure mounts, Diddy's legal team is showing signs of disarray. One of his lead attorneys, Anthony Rico, has recently requested to withdraw from the case, citing an inability to effectively represent Combs. This move has raised eyebrows, as it suggests that even the most seasoned legal professionals are recognizing the mounting challenges and the slim prospects of a favorable outcome for Combs. Furthermore, Diddy has lost the support of his longtime law firm, Grumman Shire McKellis and Sachs, which dropped him as a client shortly after the federal charges were filed. This is a significant development, as Grumman Shire is one of the most prestigious entertainment law firms in the country, representing high-profile clients such as Madonna, Usher, and Bruce Springsteen. The firm's decision to part ways with Combs further highlights the severity of the situation and the growing likelihood that Combs will face a tough legal battle in the coming months. New allegations, the extending web of co-conspirators. Adding further complexity to the case, new lawsuits have emerged implicating other high-profile figures, including Drisky and Odell Beckham Jr. in Diddy's alleged criminal activities. These new allegations claim that Drisky and Beckham Jr. were involved in a revenge plot against one of Diddy's victims, further implicating Combs in a web of coercion and abuse. Drisky has vehemently denied the allegations, calling them a fabricated lie. He maintains that he was not a public figure at the time of the alleged incident and had no connections to the entertainment industry. Beckham Jr., meanwhile, has not yet publicly commented on the allegations. However, the inclusion of these new figures in the lawsuit has raised the stakes for Combs, further complicating his defense and increasing the pressure on his legal team.